Friday Night SmackDown is here, and with Survivor Series almost upon us, you can be sure there will be some excitement in store for fans, at least we hope so. Join us now as WrestleMania analyzes tonight's edition of the Blue Brand and brings you the latest wrestling news, including Jim Cornette on the joke that led to him resigning from the NWA, Mark Henry's response, Stone Cold's talk about a return to the ring, and more. The Good, an ongoing story. While every episode should be different, tonight's SmackDown showed the strength of weaving different matches into one another through a common storyline, in this case, the ongoing NXT invasion. Regardless of whether a wrestler was battling someone or cutting a promo, the threat of the red and yellow brands invading was ever present. In some cases, Raw and NXT stars were absent, such as the Daniel Bryan segments, but in others, they played an important part, and the wrestlers mentioned it, making the entire show seem stronger and more realistic. Realistic, of course, in the fictional world of wrestling. There's no denying this was a strong episode, and there's a lot to be learned from it. Turning up the heat. A wrestling show needs a sense of rhythm, and tonight's SmackDown had it, offering occasional lulls to give the fans time to regroup, but never settling into being boring. The show gradually turned up the heat as the NXT invasion angle continued, blowing up after the main event with an all-out brawl. Tonight's show was a volcano that was ready to burst, and you could see it coming as the episode progressed, with occasional flare-ups and hints of an explosion that culminated just as the show reached its finish. The devil's in the details. Not only did this episode rely on the NXT invasion to link its various segments, it also furthered existing storylines such as the rivalry between King Corbin and Roman Reigns and a tease of AJ Styles calling out CM Punk. When King Corbin said he and his teammates would use the NXT invasion to take out their enemies, this showed story details we don't normally get. Another example of why SmackDown excelled tonight. A sweet-looking pin. The Sasha Banks vs. Charlotte vs. Rhea Ripley match was a good preview for the brand supremacy match between the women of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, with Rhea Ripley showing why she's such a promising talent. Ripley's surprise pin on Charlotte saw the Queen applying the figure-8 leg lock to the boss when Ripley rolled into the ring, pinning Charlotte while she was bridging herself for extra leverage. Just another example of why the WWE's women are second to none. Tucker time. An 8-man tag match between SmackDown's New Day and Heavy Machinery against NXT's Undisputed Era was the fast-paced bout fans might expect. However, they probably weren't expecting Heavy Machinery's Tucker delivering a beautiful moonsault that was reminiscent of the big man Vader during his prime. The bad. It's about time. Fans finally know who will be on NXT's women's team, with Rhea Ripley leading Toni Storm, Mia Yim, Candice LeRae, and Tegan Nox against Raw and SmackDown's respective teams. The question is, why WWE waited so long? As WrestleMania noted in an earlier video, there's little or no benefit to keeping the fans in suspense. New title continues cosmetic changes. Tonight's SmackDown featured the second new version of a championship belt in 2 weeks, with Sami Zayn unveiling the new Intercontinental Championship. Whether you like the new belt or hate it is meaningless, because the WWE's wretched ratings aren't going to be fixed by new versions of their championship belts. However, this does confirm our fears that the WWE has zero clue as to how to fix their product unless they follow our next bit of advice. The ugly. Nothing ugly about tonight's show, except for Charlotte's moonsault, which really needs help. Tonight did everything a go-home show was supposed to do: get the fans excited about the pay-per-view and make it seem like a must-see event. The WWE should take notes from tonight's show and see what similar things they can do once the invasion angle ends this Sunday, assuming it does. In case they forget, it's rather easy: provide solid wrestling and strong, detailed storylines on a regular basis. News. Will Steve Austin ever return to the ring? Stone Cold Steve Austin hasn't wrestled a match since 2003's WrestleMania, retiring due to complications from the botched piledriver he received during his 1997 SummerSlam bout against Owen Hart. Nonetheless, Austin has gone back and forth on whether he's got it in him to wrestle one more match. Speaking to ESPN's Mark Raimondi, Austin answered the question. "I'd be happy to give you a 2-letter answer, N-O. And in the wrestling business, it's never say never. If you ask me, Steve, do you have a couple of stunners, a couple of right hands, or do you have some hell raising left in you? Absolutely I do. But just to go in there, lace them up, and go in there for a 15 to 20 minute match? No man, I don't. Nor do I want to. I did what I did, and in WrestleMania 19, that was my last match with The Rock, and he beat me 1-2-3 right in the middle of the ring. Took 3 rock bottoms, but that was the last match that Stone Cold Steve Austin will ever have. During the interview, Austin admitted the siren call of the ring. The wrestling business, for me, it's very addictive. I was hooked on that business, and I loved it. As many years as I've been away from the business, I have fond memories. Whereas I was forced to take myself out of the equation, I had a hard time dealing with it. So why go back and get immersed in that world knowing that it would be a short road? And the build-up and then the match. I just think when it was all said and done, it would be anticlimactic for me. I don't have anything to prove. People can judge me on the career that I had. So I'd rather leave well enough alone is the simple answer. NXT Mystery Man may be... Team NXT has been doing its best to keep the superstars of Raw and SmackDown off balance, attacking them at their shows and refusing to reveal who the final member of their Survivor Series team will be until the day of the event. PW Insider's Mike Johnson is speculating the Mystery Man could be John Morrison, who signed with the WWE earlier in September. Johnson speculated, "Since WWE has had John Morrison waiting to debut, I wonder if he'll be the 4th man. That would be a nice surprise." NXT star calls out the game. Current NXT superstar Oney Lorcan recently requested his release from the WWE and appears to have responded to comments from Triple H about wrestlers approaching him about their concerns rather than voicing them publicly. Oney tweeted that, "The mature professional thing to say would be no comment and have a private conversation promoter to independent contractor instead of burying talent publicly to the media. That's how I do business. It's all about the game and how you play it." Lorcan is going by his previous wrestling name Biff Busick on Twitter. While Lorcan may not get his release, he should get a sledgehammer shot to the head for posting in all capital letters. The Louisville Lip responds. Jim Cornette addressed the joke that led to him resigning from the NWA. During the latest episode of his podcast, The Jim Cornette Experience, he clarified things. "It's a starvation joke, not a race joke. Whether it's a good joke or bad joke, it was a joke that's been told on TBS, USA Network, broadcast television stations across America over a variety of locations for the past 30 years. I'm not that sorry, because it was a joke. And if you don't like the joke, that's fine. And I'd even apologize for a bad joke. But this goddamn feedback was above and beyond the offense. And I didn't mean it in any racist way, for f***'s sake. I think the people that took it instantly as racist think that must be the only thing on people's minds when they think of black people and chicken, which that's a whole nother issue that you've got. Cause I'm going for Starvin' Marvin. I, in no way, was thinking in that direction. To anyone who was legitimately offended by a bad joke in any kind of sort of way and would accept a reasonable apology as humans sometimes do, yes, I'm sorry because I didn't intend it that way." World's Strongest Man asks for an apology. In an exclusive interview with TMZ Sports, WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry shared his feelings on his reaction to Cornette's remarks. "I would say, Jim, please apologize and mean it. And if you don't mean it, then go all the way Darth Vader and tell I just don't like black people. At least I know who you are. And then I can get rid of this feeling I have in my heart. It's like having your mother or father disown you. I feel like a sense of mourning. Prior to all this, the relationship that I had with Jim Cornette has been really, really good. He taught me a lot about pro wrestling. He allowed me into his home to look at his archive. He helped me to be the wrestler that I became, and I probably wouldn't have been the guy without him. But it is very, very hurtful, and I don't get emotional about much, but I feel a sense of loss." A real wrestling prize. AEW's Dynamite Dozen saw Hangman Adam Page and MJF outlast 10 other opponents, and now both men will compete on this week's AEW Dynamite in a match with an actual prize, a diamond ring. The stipulation may seem odd to younger fans, but it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. What's more of an incentive for someone to win a match? Bragging rights such as Survivor Series, or this match with the winner scoring a diamond ring? And this is no carnival prize either. When a fan asked Cody if the ring meant anything, Cody tweeted back, "It's actually sitting across from me right now. Ha! It's priced at genuinely $42K, so yeah, it means a lot. Your average Super Bowl ring comes in at around $35 to $40K for reference." Well guys, there you have it, WrestleMania's analysis of the 22 November SmackDown as well as the latest wrestling news. Did you watch tonight's show? If so, what did you think? Be sure to leave your comments and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.